I hung up my high-vis vest for the spring break, but after hearing the results, the preliminary results of the patronage survey, I had to take out the high-vis vest and give the dog a walk and let you know my feelings on what I've heard so far. Basically, I've read the article in the RTE News. I've listened to Emma O'Kelly on RTE, and I also listened to the Minister for Education and her thoughts on the patronage survey. So all that we know right now is that 40% of parents who already have their children in denominational schools, so that's not every parent, that's parents who are already in the system, want their school to be multi-denominational. Now, just to put that in context, just for those of you who don't know this by now, about 5% of primary schools are multi-denominational, 5%. So that means 8 times the number of in the system want to see a change to multi-denomination. It's 4 out of 10. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Now, I was talking about how much I thought this survey was pointless and how it wasn't going to change anything. But I really didn't think the figure would be that high. I thought we might get 80-20, so from parents who are already in the system, and I included parents who weren't in the system. So this is massive. This is absolutely massive, and I'd be interested in seeing the parents who are not in denominational schools, what they said about multi-denominational schools. I wonder if that would be about 100%. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. I hope they show the results. So, look, first of all, that percentage is actually much more massive than it might first appear. I know it'll probably be spun into the majority of parents value their denominational schools, and they'll say, and I'd say that will be the headline. I think I saw one of the headlines, which was 60% of parents are happy with denominational education. It's, as somebody said, one of my friends said, it's, and I'm actually, I don't want to compare it. No, I won't say it because it's too controversial. But if you're already in a particular system, of course you're going to say we're happy with it. You don't know what you don't know. Anyway, so a couple of things that have come from this. One, I listened to what the minister is going to do with this information, and unfortunately, it's very, very disappointing. What's going to happen is she's going to throw this back to schools to make the call. So basically, your school is going to get the survey results. It might say, let's say it is the exact, it's 40% of your families want your school to be multi-denominational. What is the school going to do with that information? They're going to say, well, the majority of parents want to remain denominational, therefore we'll do nothing. And I would say in almost all cases that's exactly what will happen. But even in cases, let's say it's 50-50, what is the school principal going to do with that information? You know what they're going to do. They're not going to make a change. That's massively controversial. We're better off staying the same. And what happens if it's 60% of your school population want to change to multi-denominational? Well, again, they're not going to do anything about it, really. I mean, it's too divisive. Even if we get up to, I don't know, 80% of people saying they want multi-denominational education, what's going to happen there either? There's too many variables. It's too many variables. And too emotive, and we know this already. I mean, and I think it's I don't know if it's deliberately mischievous from the Department of Education in this case. We know what happened in Malahide and Raheny. The vast majority of people in Malahide and Raheny wanted more multi-denominational schools, and when they left it to the schools to decide what to do, we know what happened. There was rebellion. We saw the Irish Times article headline where the people said where it was said that it would be a Brexit-style disaster to divest from the Catholic patronage. So I'm very disappointed with what the minister is going to do with the information that she has, and I hope that things are going to change. It's very it's very disappointing to see that. I think what we need to do now is see the rest of the results. I'm interested in how many parents want their child at school to be a Gael school. That would be very weird and very interesting. And where that will happen geographically, that would be kind of interesting. And then the single sex thing, again, what percentage of people want single sex schools? In some ways, those two pieces of information are going to be more interesting, or probably have more impact, because I think we're going to see a lot of single sex schools, a high percentage of the parents wishing for them to change. But even then, what will the impact be if they're going to push it on schools? So what I think my initial kind of thoughts on this is the Department of Education are going to fudge this. They put out a survey, and they've got I think they've got results they weren't expecting. I certainly wasn't expecting them to be as high as they were, and that's only one result, so I can only imagine what the rest will be. And rather than actually taking any leadership on this, the Department of Education are going to fudge it, and they're going to pass it down to schools, just like they do with most things. And when you push it down to schools in the system that we have, schools will act conservatively. Of course they will, and that's not a criticism of schools, because all schools do is they worry about the impact of any decision they make on their own community. And for example, if I was a principal of a Catholic school, and let's say 80% of parents had asked for multi-denominational, I would not want to be making that decision. I would certainly be asking for the Department of Education to take some sort of leadership on this. I'd actually be asking my patron body to be taking leadership on this. And I find it incredibly lazy is probably the word, irresponsible is probably the right word, of the Department of Education to pass the book back onto schools, because we know exactly what's going to happen in that case. So look, there are my thoughts. Initially, I'll be following the Minister's speech. I don't think it's going to be very much different from what she was saying on the radio this morning. She might reveal what teachers think. I'll be interested in percentage too. I won't be surprised if it's something similar, but the headline that we know, the 40%, that's interesting in itself. So let's hope they actually do something with that information. Look, we'll see how it goes. But interesting start to the day for me. Talk to you soon.